How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Country Mash. Today we're taking a quick look at the upcoming Primary Arms 3-18x50 first focal plane ACSS HUD DMR 308 rifle scope. Man, it's a long name. Alright, so I've been getting a ton of questions from you guys over at the Country Mash Instagram page about this scope. Primary Arms sent this over to me for testing evaluation, so a huge shout out to them. So I decided to do a first look, kind of initial impressions video first before I'm able to put out the full review on this guy, because there are some features about this thing that I really want to share with you guys. So we're going to go over some of the specs and details. I'll give you guys my first impressions, and I'm also going to be comparing it to the 4-14x44 HUD DMR, which is the budget scope that has the same reticle. And this is a mid-level scope, which is new to Primary Arms. And as of right now, while filming this video, the scope is $499. So it's a little bit more than the 4-14x44, but it's definitely nowhere near as expensive as the platinum version of the scope. So let's start it off with some of the specs and details. It does come with the flip-up lens covers, which is pretty cool since the 4-14x44 only comes with the bikini covers. It's still a first focal plane, which means the reticle will stay the same no matter what magnification you're on. So like I already mentioned, its magnification ranges from 3 to 18. Going over some of the dimensions, the objective lens on this guy is 50 millimeters, which is quite a bit bigger than the 4-14x44 scope. The ocular lens, which is the piece that you look into, is 35.5 millimeters. The total length of this scope without the lens covers on it is 13.2 inches. So Primary Arms claims that the weight on this guy with a battery in it but without lens covers is 25.4 ounces. So I'm going to use the scale that I've been using. It's been pretty consistent for a while. And this is coming in at about 25.74 ounces. So that's about 0.3 of an ounce heavier than what they're claiming, which really isn't that big of a deal to me. And given that this scope is so much bigger than the 4-14x44, and it's only a little bit heavier, being that this scope is about 24 ounces, it gives you the impression that this scope is actually lighter. When I first got this and pulled it out of the box, I thought it was lighter than the 4-14. But it's not. It's just really light for the size of scope that it is. It is made out of the 6061 aluminum, and it's anodized matte black. It has a fast focus eyepiece like all of their other scopes, and it has everything else you'd expect, like being fog resistant, having fully multi-coated lenses, it's nitrogen purged, and waterproof. And Primary Arms claims that the waterproof rating is actually IP67, which in short means it could be submerged in water up to a meter for 30 minutes. Which is actually a lot more waterproof than the 4-14x44 scope. It does have red partial illumination, which is the horseshoe and the chevron. The Illumination is battery powered, and it does come with a CR2032 3-volt lithium coin battery. It's kind of crazy how they have three things going on here. You have your side parallax, which is very smooth. You have your illumination right there, and then you have your battery cap right there. So the turrets are still exposed turrets that are finger adjustable, but now they're locking turrets, which means if you want to adjust them, you lift up and then you could turn it, and then when you have it where you want it, you press it down to lock it and it won't adjust anymore. So that's a really cool feature that I know a lot of you guys are going to like. And you can also still do a zero reset, so you just unscrew this guy, pop it off, set your zero, pop it back down, and then they can lock in place. One of the things Dimitri has mentioned is that the turret tracking is a lot better, and that's going to be one thing I will test on my full review, and I am going to do a box test to check that out. Another feature you guys may have noticed is this little guy right here. You can change where it goes by unscrewing it and then placing it down in one of these settings. I kind of like where it came, but having this really gives you something to grab onto so you can change the magnification a lot quicker. The total windage and elevation adjustment is 14.5 mils or 50 MOA. The field of view at 100 yards when you're at 3 power is 36.7 feet, and the field of view at 100 yards when you're at 18 power is 6.1 feet. The eye relief on this is between 3.5 and 3.9 inches, which is actually more forgiving than the 4-14x44. And just like all the other Primary Arms scopes as of right now, this one does come with a lifetime warranty. So now I want to show you guys a couple comparisons between the 3-18x50 and the 4-14x44. So I'm not sure how well you guys will be able to pick this up on the video, but I'm going to compare the glass clarity between the 3-18x50, which is what you guys are currently looking at, to the 4-14 by 44. The clarity, you're not going to notice much of a difference unless you're looking at long range, but there's definitely a yellow hue to the 4-14 compared to the 3-18. I've also noticed that the chevron on the 3-18 is a lot sharper and more defined than the chevron on the 4-14 by 44, as you guys can see right here. And having a sharper chevron like that really helps out with your precision shooting and be able to pinpoint exactly where you're aiming. Now we'll compare the Audible Clicks, starting with the 4-14. The elevation on mine has always been a little bit quiet and pretty mushy compared to the windage, which isn't bad. But the 3-18 is definitely a lot more consistent between both, and they feel very nice, as well as both of them being pretty loud. And then of course you can lock them. Alright, so first impressions, I'm really liking this scope so far. The features that this thing is packed with is just insane for the price point at $499. I definitely don't want to discount this guy, the 4-14 by 44, because it's about 280 bucks. This is also a ton of scope, and the features you get in this thing are ridiculous. This thing has really put up with a lot and is extremely durable. But if you guys are willing to spend the extra $200 or so, you are getting a huge upgrade with this scope, because as of right now, I don't think there are any other scopes out there that offer this high of quality and this many features at this price. I have owned another scope from another company that was way more expensive than this, and it was not to this standard. It didn't have all the features that this has, it didn't have the glass clarity that this has, and it definitely did not have the reticle that this thing has. So that's my initial opinion of this scope. Take it right now as a grain of salt. There will be an updated video and a full review, but as of right now, this thing is awesome. Well, that's it for today's video until I'm able to release a full review on this scope, which hopefully should be pretty soon. I hope you guys found some value in it. If you're new to the channel, if this is your first time watching, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you guys can stay tuned for the full review. And don't forget to hit that like button, and also share this video with any of your buddies who may be in the market for a new scope, or maybe wants to upgrade from their 4-14 by 44. Or maybe even upgrade from a Vortex. I'm just kidding. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.